Hello. Okay, right, let's get comfortable. So this is chapter 19. Now, can you remember what happened last? We were up to, oh, that's right. So we were in that's right. So there's the clerk who is in the tower, and he has to do all the documentation for all the people that come and ask their questions and want the honest answer. And he's fed up. He doesn't like it. He's got these spider things, hasn't he? So we've got Spoon, we've got Flabbergast, all tangled up, all wrapped up. They're restrained. And 9, he's being very cautious. She's trying to say the right words. She's not trying to make any requests on the clerk, because she doesn't want to be like the others, all wound up in spider's web. So she's been very diplomatic. She's been, we'll go now if you just let me and my friends go. So then 9 smiles. Oh yes, she really had missed this. So she's ready to do something. So chapter 19. 9 clenched her fists and then she stretched her fingers. Her pre-pounce ritual. She was the cat, stalking her prey, and she was on in 3. She ignored the panicking, muffled squeaks from Flabbergast. 2. She flexed her fingers. 1. She lunged for the desk and with a sweep of her hand scattered the papers and scrolls to the floor. The scribe yelled in protest and stood up, frantically trying to catch the flying parchment. 9 jumped onto the table and, with quick fingers, undid the buckle of the belt and slid off the iron ring with the key. "How dare you!" roared the creature, then clasped its feathery hand over its beak. But it was too late. The question had been asked. A spider dropped down from the ceiling and began weaving a web to silence him. 9 ducked as 3 more of the thread-dangling spiders grasped the creature in their strong legs and swung it over the stone wall as another spun webs around its hands. Throwing the key into her satchel, 9 ran over to Spoon and grabbed his sword from the ground. Carefully she cut away at the strong web spinning Spoon's arm to the wall until his hand was released. He snatched the sword from her hand and in a few quick swipes he was free. The spiders, their work done, climbed lazily back up to the ceiling, just as the freed Spoon dropped to the ground. He pulled at the webs, covering his mouth, spitting and spluttering. "Just don't ask anything," 9 said, lifting him so he could cut Flabbergast free. The wizard's eyes widened in fear as Spoon sliced away at the webs faster than the spiders had formed them. And then moments later, Flabbergast fell gracefully to the ground, but sprung back up again quickly, almost joyfully. "Oh, well done, madam," said Flabbergast, rubbing his wrist. "I always said you were very, very clever." "You have never said I am clever." Yes, well..." He cleared his throat and dropped his voice to a mutter. "It doesn't mean I wasn't thinking it." He quickly put on his hat, cloak and slippers as 9 took Spoon over to free Eric. "Lady, save!" Eric cried, his arms outstretched. He stopped short, as if remembering 9 was not overly fond of hugs, and patted her head awkwardly instead. 9 ducked, trying not to catch the troll's expression. "Free the scribe creature, Spoon." Oh, sorry, wrong person. "Free the scribe creature, Spoon," 9 said. She looked at Gazillion. "And cut down the turnip brain. I suppose someone with actual magic powers might be useful in this place." Spoon sliced away at the threads, muttering about one wizard being enough trouble without having 2 of the blasted things in a row. Now 9 and Flabbergast slipped away through the doorway and towards the spiral staircase. "Madam, what in the name of strawberry tea are you doing here?" Flabbergast hissed, as Eric followed and barreled into him in a huge hug. Flabbergast patted the troll awkwardly on his back. "You don't think I'm passing up an opportunity to ask a question of my own, do you?" said 9. "I want to know what my music box is whispering, and besides, we knew you wouldn't get far without us." "But how did you..." "Well, I stole this little blue skull." "You stole a skull?" "Ignored the other numbers." "Ignored the other numbers?" "Just jumped straight onto the number 10, and here I am." Flabbergast blinked. Why didn't we think of that?" Nine rolled her eyes and reached into her satchel for her music box. She looked over her shoulder to see Gazillion had stepped behind them, pulling webs from his mouth. "And if you so much as try anything," she began. "Oh, I wouldn't dream of it," said Gazillion in a voice that implied he would pretty much try everything. There was the sound of more web slicing from the room, and then Spoon darted out. "Ah, impudent askers!" Wrong voice, that wasn't Spoon. "Impudent askers," called the creature after them. "I warn you, the tower will not take kindly to this. On your own heads be it." Nine kicked the stone step, and the wooden door appeared from the bottom up. "Key," said the gargoyle, opening her mouth wide. Nine put the key into the gargoyle's mouth and turned it sharply to the right. There was a clonk and then a clank, and the door disappeared from the top down, the iron key falling from the keyhole and clattering loudly on the stone step before vanishing from sight. Nine stepped forwards, but a voice spoke in her head. "The Time Master has 3 games. The sands will fall, and then your time will end." Did you hear that? Nine whispered to Flabbergast behind her. "Oh, yes," Flabbergast whispered back. "It appears, madam, that the tower has become significantly more bad-tempered since my last visit." He swallowed hard. "Oh, and it wasn't the cheeriest soul in the realms to even begin with. What games will it play?" "Regretfully, there is no way of knowing, madam. The tower is a changeable and dangerous taskmaster. It is all-seeing and all-knowing." "And all grumpy," added Nine. "I have only succeeded in reaching the tower just twice before. The first time I did not get beyond the entrance hall, and the second time I may have—" Flabbergast glanced in Gazillion's direction. Nine widened her eyes as the penny dropped. Did you cheat?" "Madam," hissed Flabbergast indignantly, "cheating is such a strong word. Did you cheat?" Flabbergast's cheeks flushed red. "Nowhere did it specifically say on the scroll of unbreakable rules that your sister was not allowed to be invisible and possibly help you out at certain times. Nowhere did it say that in the rules." "She helped you?" said Nine incredulously. "For a hefty price," grumbled Flabbergast. Nine smiled. "Can you really make herself invisible? She is clever." "She is an intolerable show-off," said Flabbergast tightly, and Nine guessed the conversation was then closed. They climbed on in an uneasy silence. A definitive feeling of chilly unwelcomeness hung in the air, as if even the stone steps were disapproving of yet more askers and wanted to make life as difficult and as unpleasant as possible. The only sound was the noise of their feet on the stone as they climbed up the stairs. Other than that, the tower was silent, too silent. If the tower was bombarded with so many askers, 302 just today, that the poor creature was so overwhelmed with paperwork, where were they all? Where were all the askers? "Why does the tower feel so empty?" Nine whispered to Flabbergast. "I do not know, madam," Flabbergast whispered back. "It was certainly not so quiet when I was last here." A little shiver ran down her spine. What had happened to all the askers? "So you have lost your magic, Flabbergast the Unworthy," Gazillion said. Behind Flabbergast, disturbing their thoughts, his voice bubbled with delight. "Rather unfortunate in a place like this, don't you think? That's why the mortal had to bring me alone." "Well, the mortal is beginning to wish she'd left the web over your mouth, Turnip Brain," Nine called back to him. "Ha! It would matter not. A wizard who cannot speak would still be far superior to a wizard who cannot." Gazillion gasped suddenly, and Nine, Eric, and Flabbergast twisted round to see what was wrong. Spoon stood on Gazillion's mauve-cloaked shoulder, his sword against the wizard's throat. "Ah, Choose your words wisely, lad. Spoon growled. Ah, you'll soon be a wizard who can neither speak nor perform magic. Another doorway opened and appeared a few steps away, leading into another room. Let me check, said Nine, and she kicked the next step past the door. From the bottom up, another ancient-looking oak door with black metal studs appeared. Out popped the head of the same wooden gargoyle. Oh, you again. Key? She opened her mouth. What key? The key you retrieved from the mirror, child. Well, the mirror that ain't a mirror. I haven't got a key, said Nine. The gargoyle huffed. Then why'd you wake me up? I'm fed up with... Nine tuttered and moved her foot away from the step. The door disappeared from the top down. We need to go in the room, said Nine. To find that mirror, that isn't a mirror. Then I can enjoy shoving the key in that gargoyle's mouth. Nine took a deep breath and turned to the doorway. It's time to play. And that takes us to chapter 20, where it sounds like they're all going to partake in the games of the Tower of Truth. Is it going to be hopscotch? Is it going to be magic? We'll have to find out.